Internet. My name is Rabbi Sender Gajzinski. It's been a long time since we last did one of these videos, so let's jump right into it. This is the weekly Torahbyte for Parshas Shoftim. Parshas Shoftim picks up in the middle of an incredible monologue that Moshe is giving over to the Jewish people at the last moments of his life. It begins with the first Parsha, Torah portion of the book of Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy, and will take us all the way through to the end of the Torah. It's an entire fifth of the Torah, this one speech from Moshe Rabbeinu at the threshold of the Holy Land, knowing he will not take the people in to the land of Israel. And so these are his final words, and they need to resonate. And they do, because every year we spend an entire 20% of the year focusing on every last word of this speech from Moshe, which is instead obviously from God to the people. This parsha specifically talks about how the Jewish people are expected to establish their civil society upon entering the land of Israel. And what is amazing about it is if you study this Torah portion with the establishment of the courts and the enforcement and how cases are meant to be litigated, civil and criminal, etc., you will see that this is still practiced today, not only in the land of Israel, but in most societies around the world. And I don't mean in the Jewish communities, I mean period. Around the world, much of the law system is based on ideas found in this week's Torah portion. It's a fascinating read in and of itself. But we're going to focus on one line Moshe says in the very beginning, or God says in the very beginning of this parsha, as a header, in a sense, to the entire idea. Something, a well-known verse, Tzedek, Tzedek, Tirdov. Justice, justice you shall pursue. Now the Torah doubles up the word tzedek, and many understand this to mean correctly that the Torah is demanding of you a redoubled commitment to see justice in the society around you. But when the Torah doubles down on a word and says it twice, it's more than just trying to emphasize the word, it's also telling you something interesting, that there might be more than one way to understand or to translate this particular word, and both are necessary. And this is particularly fascinating when we're talking about the word tzedek, which many people struggle with understanding, because the two translations or the two connotations of the word tzedek oftentimes seem to be opposite, and therefore cannot just be considered synonymous. Tzedek, on the one hand, is tzedek, which means justice. Justice, the connotation is that proper justice is blind, and it is agnostic. It is cold. It is what it is, based on the facts. And we can't sit there and start, in a sense, engaging in it with emotion and treating one side better over the other. We have to look at it coldly and blind to any other elements, and just mete out justice as is necessary and is deserved. And then the same word in Hebrew, however, means what appears to be the exact opposite, tzedakah, which means charity. Charity, by definition, is something that is empathetic and warm and caring, takes into consideration a person's position and situation, and maybe moves the needle, if so necessary, to err to the side of helping somebody beyond perhaps what they deserve. So, which way should we govern the society? Should society be governed with justice, or should society be governed with charity? And this parsha tells us absolutely both. Tzedek, tzedek. Both justice and righteousness. And more importantly, you cannot have one without the other. Just the purpose of justice is not just, in a sense, to keep everything from descending into chaos. It is an integral part in developing a society and moving it forward and helping it grow, etc., and to help everything achieve its greatest potential. You can't have that without a healthy dose of charity. You can't have that where you're not taking into consideration the situation that the people are in that are before you. And as, yes, you mete out the justice, you have to understand, I'm doing this for the benefit of not only the society around them, but for them themselves. And what is the most important thing that I can give to them and to the society simultaneously in my ruling or my engagement in this particular matter? And on the other hand, charity alone without a sense of justice is not either charity. To just say, I'm going to give. Why? Because somebody asks. And if they ask, I should just give. Oftentimes what they're asking for is not actually what they need. And giving it will actually be a detriment to them. And so you have to, in a certain sense, move beyond just pure empathy to them and take into consideration a greater picture. This is fascinatingly why in Kabbalah we have 3 attributes. One would think there's only 2. There's kindness, and then there's severity, or kindness and judgment. Kindness is the guy who wants to give everybody what they want. Judgment or justice is the one who wants to give everybody what they deserve. That's really the 2 sides. There's not really... everything's on the spectrum of those 2. Comes Kabbalah and says, actually, there's a third thing, which is actually the perfect amalgam of the both, and is by far the best attribute to pursue. And that is rachamim. Rachamim is not to look to give a person what they want. That's chesed, that's kindness. Or what they deserve, which is gevura, either positive or negative. It all depends what they deserve. But actually, a third thing, rachamim, which means compassion, is to give somebody what they need. What they need, which is that blend of justice and charity. And as we approach Rosh Hashanah, this is in fact what we ask of God. Hashem, Hashem, kel rachum v'chanun, the God of rachamim, the God that's not going to give us what we want just because we're asking for it. Not the God that gives us only what we deserve, but the God that gives us what we in fact need. And let's employ that in our own lives and for those around us. Let us take into consideration what do those around us need, and make sure we're there to help them receive it. Shabbat Shalom and Shana Tova.